Well, hello! My name is Vid, and today I'm going to show you two very cool designs, one for a Shulker Box Loader and one for a Shulker Box Unloader. I'm going to put the timestamps on the screen right now so that you can skip directly to the build videos. I will point out very quickly, these are for Java Minecraft only. They should work in pretty much any modern version of Java Minecraft. These will not work on Bedrock, so if you're having problems on Bedrock, please don't comment below and tell me this doesn't work on Bedrock. I know, it's for Java only. I just said that. Java. Make sure you look at the title of the video. It says Java only. Okay, let's get into the builds. Make sure you watch these builds because there are some tricks. You can try to follow just from the pictures if you like, but I'm telling you, you're going to get stuck. So watch the videos and we'll start now. Let's get started with the Shulker Box Loader. Everything you need is going to be in this box right here. You're going to need 2 barrels, 4 hoppers, 3 observers. You're going to need 1 dropper and 1 dispenser. Make sure you grab 1 of each and make sure you know the difference between the two. You're going to need 1 redstone comparator, 1 sticky piston, 2 pieces of redstone dust, 1 redstone block, 1 building block of your choice, and of course, at least 1 empty shulker box, but I'd recommend having a bunch of empty shulker boxes. This is, of course, a Shulker Box Loader, and it is designed to automatically refill itself with empty boxes, so make sure you have plenty. Alright, let's grab all of these materials and get started. We're going to start by placing our dropper down facing us, and then we're going to take our dispenser, we're going to jump, and we're going to place that in front of the dropper so that we have the dropper facing into the dispenser. Make sure you put it this way so that the dropper is feeding directly into the dispenser and the dispenser is facing straight up. Behind the dropper, we're going to put 2 hoppers down, just like that, and we're going to put a barrel on top of this final hopper right over here. We're going to come 2 blocks out from the dispenser, put another barrel down, and then a hopper feeding directly into that guy. Now we're going to jump up on top of the contraption that we've just built here. We're going to put a comparator on top of the hopper, and then we're going to put a solid building block on top of that barrel. We're going to put a redstone block behind it. Now let's get some of our other materials out here. Make sure that we have everything in our hotbar. Let's jump up on top here. On top of the dispenser, we're going to jump and place our shulker box down. I guess we have to jump and shift and click our shulker box down. On top of the redstone block and the building block, we're going to place those 2 pieces of redstone dust so they're feeding that way. Now we're going to get down behind the shulker box here. We're going to shift and we're going to place our observer facing directly into that dust so it's looking at it. Now we're going to jump up on top of this shulker box. We're going to jump and we're going to place the hopper down so that it's feeding into the shulker. And then behind the hopper here, we're going to shift and we're going to place second last observer facing into the hopper. Underneath that observer, that's what it is, we're going to shift right up against this dropper here and we're going to place an observer facing up into the other observer. And the last component is the sticky piston, which we're just going to place against this barrel right here. And that's it. That's the whole contraption right there. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is just grab yourself a bunch of empty shulker boxes and we're going to come along and put them in this barrel right here. This is going to be our supply of empty boxes and you should see them all drain out. They're going down into this hopper, and then they're going to end up in this dropper right here. They're not going to go into this dispenser. Don't worry about it. That all happens when the machine is actually loading. So the way this machine works, you're going to feed your farm resources into this top hopper up here. They're going to drain down into the shulker box, and then the shulker box is going to slowly fill up. And once it fills up, the comparator will detect that it's fully filled, fully power this block, which will increase the signal strength of this redstone dust up to 15, which will then be observed, passed through, and then fire off this sticky piston, which is going to shift this observer over and back again, which will break the shulker box and, of course, dispense a brand new shulker box in its place. So let's watch that happen. I've got some iron in my inventory. I'm just going to throw all of this iron right down here. This represents an iron farm we're building, and let's watch what happens when all of that iron gets filtered in. We should see the shulker box get broken, and then a new box gets dispensed into place, ready for more iron. Now, the beautiful thing is that full shulker box is going to end up right down here in this barrel, ready to be collected. You can also, this is one wide tileable, so you can also stack these things all the way along if you want and feed multiple farms together and your resources will be collected. I should point out that once in a while, the shulker box will not when it gets ejected, it will not go directly straight forward and into this hopper. Sometimes it might end up just outside, so it might end up in one of the adjacent hoppers if you guys have these things side by side. Also, if you have it open like this, there is a possibility that the shulker box will pop out and just end up down here. It's a low possibility, but it can happen. So I'd recommend just taking some glass. Let's just grab some glass here. That's not how you spell glass. That's how you spell glass. And maybe just put some glass like here, and then maybe the same thing on the other side like this, just to make sure that if that shulker box gets broken, then when it pops out, it doesn't pop completely all the way out to the ground. So let me just do that one more time. I'm just going to put a shulker box full of iron here. This is going to slowly drain out here, and you'll see what happens when we get the whole shulker box full of iron. It gets popped, another one gets popped in. So just a reminder, all of your full shulker boxes are going to end up over here, and over here is where you put in your empty shulker boxes, or in this case, I've got shulker boxes that are partially filled with iron already, just to make sure that this machine actually cycles quickly. And now let's build the Shulker Box Unloader. Everything you're going to need is in this box right here. You're going to need 2 barrels, 3 hoppers, 1 dropper, and 1 dispenser. Again, make sure you know the difference between the dropper and the dispenser. You are going to need 4 observers, 2 sticky pistons, 1 regular piston, 2 comparators, 1 redstone block, 3 building blocks that can be any kind of solid building block, and then just some random throwaway building blocks, temporary blocks. That dirt I'm going to use is not important. It's just going to be used to place some blocks, then we'll break it. But you can use anything for that. Also, you're going to need some full shulker boxes just to test the system. You don't really need these, but I filled up a couple shulker boxes with junk just to show you exactly how this machine works. Okay, let's grab all of this stuff and get building. This one starts by placing a barrel straight down, and then we're going to jump up on top of that, and we're going to place a hopper facing straight into that. Next, we're going to turn to the side, and we're going to shift and place a temporary block right beside there, and then we're going to place a barrel on the outside of that temporary block. Now we can break the temporary block, we don't need it anymore, and we can shift and click a hopper directly into that barrel. Next, we're going to take a solid building block and we're going to place it on top of the barrel, just like that. Now we're going to jump up on top of that solid building block and we're going to take our dropper. Make sure we use the dropper and not the dispenser. We're going to come out to the edge here and we're going to shift and we're going to place the dropper facing straight up. Next, we're going to jump up on top of that dropper and we're going to face an observer straight down into it. And then we're going to drop down here and take our sticky piston, one of the sticky pistons, and we're going to shift and we're going to place it facing straight this way. Now, while we're up here, we're going to place a comparator facing into that observer. We're going to drop down again, and then on top of the hopper, we're going to shift and place another comparator facing straight that way. Finally, we're going to take one of our building blocks. We're going to shift and we're going to place it against this comparator right here so that it's above the other comparator, right like that. And that is one side pretty much done. So next we're going to turn around, we're going to shift and place a temporary block right beside the hopper, the original hopper right there. And on top of that hopper, or on top of that temporary block I should say, we're going to place a piston facing straight back towards us. Let's hop up on top of the piston, and behind the piston we're going to place a solid building block just like that. And now we're going to stand up on top of that building block we just placed. We're going to take some temporary blocks, we're going to place 2 temporary blocks just like that, 1, 2. Then we're going to jump up on top of these temporary blocks, and on the furthest one away, this one basically right in the middle of the contraption, we're going to jump and place a hopper right into that. Fall back down again here, and then we're going to take one of our observers, we're going to shift and place the observer so it's looking straight into that hopper. And now we should be able to jump down, break all of the temporary building blocks out, and if you just take a look at what we've got, this is what you should have so far. We're not quite done building yet. Let's take our dispenser and place it, shift, and we're going to place it facing straight down on the side of this building block under the hopper like that. While we're over there, we're going to shift and we're going to place an observer so that it's underneath this observer facing straight up at it. Next, we're going to come beside that and we're going to shift and place a sticky piston facing straight down, just like that. And now we're gonna come over here underneath the whole machine, and we're going to shift, and we're gonna place an observer facing away from us underneath the piston, just like that. So it should be over here observing this direction. And then last but not least, the only component we have left is this block of redstone, and that's gonna go right up here on the sticky piston. And that is the entire machine fully constructed. Just make sure you go back and clear out all of your temporary blocks out of these barrels and hoppers to make sure that nothing is in the way, and everything should be good to go. So the way this system works, we're going to feed our full shulker boxes into this hopper at the very top here. We can feed them in by running lines of hoppers, feeding into these, or we can just throw them in, whatever we like. This represents where our full shulker boxes would come. Maybe you've just come back from a project and you want to empty a shulker box into your storage system. You're going to throw that shulker box right into this hopper, right like this. It gets picked up, and you can see that the machine automatically dispenses it, and now all of the contents of that shulker are being drained through this hopper and into this barrel right here. When it's all done, hopefully in a second, there we go, you're going to see that it ejects that over here, and now the empty shulker box ends up in this barrel, and all of the contents end up right down here. The nice thing is, you can actually throw multiple shulker boxes up here, and it'll just keep doing it. It'll just keep processing them one at a time. And so this one is now being processed. All of those materials are being drained out. This was just a copy of the same thing, so everything's just draining and filling up this box, and then it gets broken in again. Empty shulker boxes are going to end up over here, and all of your contents are going to end up here, or of course in this hopper if you don't have enough storage space. But you can run this out to a water stream, or run it out to like another hopper line, or whatever you like to get rid of all the materials. Maybe feed this into your storage system, and then this over here would just be where you could collect the empty shulkers, which again you could grab and feed maybe to your Shulker Box Loader. And just like the first machine I showed you, this machine is one wide tileable, so you can actually stack these things right alongside each other without them interfering with each other. But again, just a reminder, there is a possibility that when the shulker box gets broken here and pops off, it might end up getting shot out of the side here, or potentially into one of the other hoppers that's side by side. Now, if they're all empty shulker boxes, it shouldn't matter anyway, because most likely you're going to be taking the empty shulkers and tracking them all into the same place with a line of hoppers or something like that. But if you only have one, or at the very ends of these machines, you should probably seal them with glass, at least these two sides, and maybe, you know, something like this as well. There, just like that, just to make sure that if shulkers do get broken, they're not accidentally popping out. I haven't actually seen it happen with this particular machine, but just in case, it's probably best practice to do that anyway. So there you have it, two extremely useful machines for both shulker box loading and shulker box unloading. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, do me a favor, click that like button. And if you haven't done so already, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. My name is Vid, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!